Alright, so we're back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video. This one, you saw the title, you see the screen, look at that beautiful forehead. It's time for the Android 18 deck profile. This one features blue-green from, of course, set 8. It has a lot of cool text here and there. It has some staples that you should play pretty much in every blue-green / blue deck going forward. But for this one, it does feature some hand control, some board control, and overall, pretty good hand advantage with a decent finisher. But of course, please subscribe if you are new. I'm trying to do this every couple days. I have a lot of decks that I want to put out there, a lot of ideas. It's going to take a lot of work, but oh well. Like, dislike, and comment below. Let me know what you think about this deck and even your own Android 18 BAETEEN deck. I have already announced the winner for the last giveaway. If you want to be in the next one, definitely subscribe. It's going to be next week. Let's get into the deck. This one features Android 18, the brand new one from set 8. If you did not understand that from the title and everything else, this is the leader. So just like the Android 21, I think the starter one, I'm pretty sure it's the starter one, not the booster one, in which this one does play the Android 21 scheme from your deck immediately, and we'll kind of go over that in a second and how that interacts with the deck as well as other leaders. That's the other thing that you kind of have to consider. But for her, she has an activate main in which you choose one clone token on the battle in the opponent's battle area, which the Android 21 scheme does play out for free every single turn. You then remove it from the game. You draw one, you take one for your life and add it to your hand, and you choose up to one of their battle cards at energy cost of 1 and return to their hand. And the reason for this is because of Black Mass Sand, because you are playing out the tokens every single turn. It does technically trigger. If someone wants to correct me, you can. I don't care, but I think that's what the premise is. The other part of it is Borgos and any other 1-drops that could be kind of problematic, basically. I went against a Kid Q with this deck probably last week or so. It was pretty good as far as this this effect, because he literally could not stick a Kid Q on the board, and then anytime that he did, I got to 4 pretty early, and then I just use the new 1-drop counter, in which I will go over in a second. This one is a draw to flip over. The other part of it, or the other side on the back end, is the same thing, but this time for the duration of the turn, not duration of the battle, but duration of the turn, you reduce all blue and green cards in your hand and battle area by 1. For the duration of turn. So this means any of the multicolors are free, any of the 1 cost sell or blue costs, whatever, is for free. This also means that since it is blue and green cards and it is multi, that means it's green and yellow, that means it's red and blue, that means it's going to be red and green, etc, etc. All of these are now free on your turn, and that's kind of a downside because it is your turn and you're committing some stuff for that. But the other part of it is that if you don't do it, you can just pass and then just arrival on their turn, and it kind of gets around Android 21 scheme anyway. And the reason why I say that is because the field spell, or the field card, I'm hanging out on too many people playing other TCGs. It says auto once per turn. When you or your opponent plays a non-token battle card, it can't attack for the duration of the turn. The whole premise of this deck is that you play things on their turn, and when you do play things on your turn, you kind of plan it around what you can attack with afterwards. So you play things for free, you play things for the rival, you get rid of it, and then you attack with the other thing. Since this is once per turn, it's similar to the Frieza SR from Clash of Fate. The only one that you actually or is actually affected is the first battle card that you actually do play. So when you play that battle card, that can attack, but if you play another one, you can't attack. The original deck that I had for this, I had the free blocker Krillin. It is probably a good flex or consider card. I'll mention a couple others as well, in which you can just go ahead and play the free blocker Krillin, and anything after you play that, whether it's a rival or something else, it can attack. Plus you have a free blocker, which is not too bad. The only downside from that is that it reduces your hand, and it can be easily removed in a lot of different ways, from counterplays, from simple removal, etc, etc, and I don't really like that. That's why I took it out. And when you play a black battle card, place in a drop area. This deck would be really good with Dark Banisher Food, but because of this, it won't stick. You can still play black battle cards. That's why they say place in a drop area and not instead
and then placing the drop area. This is the reason for this is because any silver bullets that we print, or that Bandai prints, is like Cronoa or whoever, the effect will still go off, and you aren't punished for that for playing this leader, similar to Kaba or an announcer, etc. And the biggest thing to consider is that every opponent main phase, they play 2 tokens on their field with 10,000 power, and it has no combo power, so it literally just sits there unless you remove them or somehow they remove it on their field. It is still affected by battle card effects, so if it's choose up to a cost like Kale, you can remove them. Things like that, you can still remove it with chain attack. You can remove it. You can't remove a Kami. Those things. If you have any questions on that, definitely let me know in the comments. But the big thing about this is that some people just don't understand whether to attack with the clone tokens or just to kind of just sit them there or let them sit there. With this deck, you can play the Goku, in which I'll go into in a second, and you can remove them so that way you can prevent those attacks. But because you draw 2 and some of the stuff that you want to be awakened, basically, it's not that big of a deal if they do swing with the tokens. You can just go ahead and awaken, and then you can bean and prevent any kind of further attacks if you need to. Then you have to waste cards to actually do damage. The other part of it is that you do lose out on the draw if they do attack with the clone tokens early on. So it's kind of a tricky situation in which you have to kind of gauge what you want to defend and what you don't want to if you want that draw later on. The perfect awakening is you being at 5 life. They have 3 clone tokens. You can take one, or maybe even 4 tokens, and you can take one, awaken, take another, get the free cards, and then a rival, and then continue your plays. All right, I really wanted to make sure that that was cleared up as far as the leader and as well as clone tokens going forward. It's gonna be one of those things that people are gonna play, like clone tokens, and as well as these aandroidd decks, and really just clone tokens in general will be seen within the format. I don't know how prevalent as far as a higher tier it will be, but I'd rather just talk about it. All right, so what we're playing is the Piccolo and Goku line, and as well as the clone token stuff. The right side is a flex box to consider, but the first thing is this Supreme Technique Goku, in which this is a 4-cost green and blue Sun Goku, and you basically play it for blue-green, a rival for blue, and then when you play it, it also has blocker, by the way. When you play it, you choose 2 clone tokens on their field, and then they drop 1 card. The reason why we play this is because, well, not only because this is a pretty good card in general. You have a 20k blocker, you have an attacker, you get to drop a card. It's just really good in general. But the Piccolo does see it as a green Goku because it is a 20-cost green Goku. You can go ahead and play the Piccolo for free. And now you have not only the attacker, in which on your attack you can attack with it, or you can choose just to pass, and now you have a 20k blocker, but you don't have to attack with it for it to be effective, because now the Piccolo can be played down for free, and then you can go ahead and pop it. And early into the game, it's really good because if they're playing a 1-drop or a 2-drop, regardless of the effect, they still have to drop the 2 cards and ignore his barrier, which is crazy. So you play this for free. It's a 20k attacker, and then activate main is that you pop this guy, place it in the drop area, or KO it actually, and then you get to look at this text. This looks terrible. You get to either pop a 2-cost or less, narrowing barrier, and drop 2 cards, or you just KO something on their field, which is still pretty damn good. Now we have the Son Goku and Gohan, Saiyans of Earth. I kind of want to play this at 4, but I don't think I need to at the same time. So 3 has been perfectly fine, honestly. There's a rival green yellow. If you've seen this in other decks, especially Anthony's deck, is pretty cool. You play this card, you choose one of the battle cards and place it in their energy of 5 or less, and as well as they drop a card. So you can kind of see the hand control coming from here, and as well as the Vegeta the Cruel that we'll see in a second. And then we have the Ultra Instinct right after that. I've been wanting to put this in a deck. This actually plays out pretty well for removal and just as a finisher. Like both of these cards are actually really good. Just a 25k blocker on their turn, and to rip a card and to remove something, especially if it's something very annoying like a 4-drop Caulifla or something. That's a really good card for it. And then EX Evolve for 2, place 1 into the drop. Now you have a triple striker in which they can combo. If they don't have a negate, they lose. and then you just remove everything. So things like the apes, things that you can't interact with barrier, basically. Both of these things kind of get around the counterplays, other than Cold Bloodlust, as well as the Frost Deadly Poison. So those are really the only two things you have to worry about, and really you have to worry about that with anything that doesn't have deflect. Things that you can't interact with that has barrier, like the 4-drop Piccolo, is really good because now both of these take care of that sort of thing. And now we have the clone token stuff, in which you play one of the Android 21, you draw a card, and basically you play a token, or they play a token at the end of their turn. It's a really good one of. 2 is probably really good as well. The other part of it is that you play this as a one of in case they have any removal for their field, or for your field, in which you pay 2 blue and green to play the Android 21 scheme from the drop. So there you go. And then we have a Supreme Technique Krillin, in which it is a blocker. You pay 1 blue after you combo with a card. On your turn, it becomes free because of the 1-cost combo effect. And the other auto is that you choose 1 clone token, which is kind of annoying, to be honest with you. I just wish there wasn't a clone token. There wasn't a clone token there. And then attacking Android 18, in which we have 2 targets for the leader and as well as the battle card multicolor, it gains double strike. So this one becomes, the leader becomes a 20k double striker from there, and then you get a 1-cost blocker right after. And it is also an arrival option, in which you can just go ahead and combo one of your Piccolos if you already have one on the field, because you only play one on the field, or something else, and get that arrival requirement. And then now this is sort of a spike spot. I already kind of explained the Under 21 scheme, but this can be anything as these would be, or if these could take a place, it would be this. It's just a free critical, in which if you're tapped out, or if they think that you don't have anything else and you have some clone tokens that aren't being used, Cell is really good. Like, Cell is just a 15k critical for free, and you don't really have to do anything else. Like, he's just there. Plus he's another arrival fodder for 0-cost 5k, and that's always good. And then we have other flex spots, in which the top 5 Gohan is a searcher. You play this because basically you want to get around the Android 21 scheme effect, in which you play this for 1. You look at the top 5, you choose a blue or green Piccolo or Goku. So these are all the targets for that. He's kind of underwhelming. If he was top 7, it would be even better. Even if he was like a blue Goku or a green Piccolo, I don't know. But top 5 is just you know. Undying Spirit Son Gohan has been pretty good. He was in my original build, but he's more of a fodder for this. It'd be a really good replacement if you want to go ahead and do that, since some of these cards can't get around the Android 21 scheme to attack first. So that's always a thought. Then he's good for removal / just any target for or less. And then we have the Prideful Hero. So this one is a heroic card, in which you play another one which you don't play. You get to draw a card. And then Activate Main is that you remove 3 clone tokens. You play it for free from your hand. And then the Activate Main is that, or Activate Battle actually, is you pay 2 blue and 2 colorless, and it gains triple attack, or triple strike actually. And then you combo anything from your drop. The reason why I played this originally is because of the Gohan. It is another target for that, and he's another finisher. Because you play these cards, the Cell and the multicolors in your energy, you get to combo those, you get to draw from Cell, you get to have the 10k for free, and then go through that. And I think really because of this effect, because it's free and because it's something that's not expected, it might be a really good finisher if you're not taking advantage of those clone tokens, in which this guy does need 2 clone tokens to drop a card, and Krillin needs 1, the leader needs 1, etc. Just something to consider, you know. And then we have the extras. We have Absolute Release Ball, which is probably the best counterplay out of the 4 that we have. It says you basically have, if they play 3 or less battle card, that is, you get to put that back into their hand, and it's never played. And if you have 4 or less energy, or 4 or less life, that is, you can pay this and then untap a blue energy for that, basically. So you can always pay a life, like Sparking, but you don't have to have Sparking. And then you untap a blue energy, which can be a blue-green type thing. So it's basically a free counterplay, in which really disrupts a lot of different things. I almost want to play this at 3, because you awaken pretty early. Then we have D-Magic, you already know. Sensu Bean, you already know. Unyielding is to be in here, but doesn't really need it. And then we have Infernal Villainy Cell. You basically have a 0 cost draw or a 1 cost unbreakable or super combo, whatever you want to call it, on the defense side. But when you're going offensive, this is the card to use. Sometimes I use the Kami, sometimes I use the Beerus, sometimes I use the Vegeta, sometimes I use the 1-drop 21 in order to swing, combo with this, go to 14 or 15, whatever costs I have, and then swing with leader, draw the card, etc. So that way you don't over combo. This is just really good because overall, like, it's just good. Like, you need the arrival requirement, you need the green for charge, you need it for more draw power and cycle. You get the idea, right? And then Android 18 Full of Rage is the TP pack, in which is arrival blue-green with 1 blue. And then auto says when you play this, you can't play for the duration of turn. It's kind of a bummer, but very understanding, in which you can probably loop it. And activate battle is that if it's on the field, you get to return it to your hand, and then you return a 4 or less from their field to their hand. This is really good for a lot of different targets. You basically swing, or you use it on their on defense. You pay the blue, and you arrival, and then you return it from to their hand. It's just another sort of bounce and disrupt their plays, especially if they tapped out for it. Like, come on. Or are they going for game? Or if it's on your turn, you swing with it, and then on their turn, it just sits there unless they remove it, and then you return it from their hand or to their hand. It's really good. And then we have Urgent Aid Kami. I think Burgos and as well as the other cards that have this effect are kind of underrated as well. This is really good to get around that Android 21. I actually kind of want to play this at 3. I used to play it at 4, but I added Beerus. But honestly, it's really good just to have that arrival that replaces itself, just to have that effect to make them think. You don't want to play the green one that is the cunning cards, that is the duration of the game, because you are untapping yourself. So you don't want to untap. You don't want to prevent yourself from untapping with Senzu Bean if you don't have the 5 cards to warp. So that's the reason why I want to play that. Then we have the North Kai Keeping Watch super combo, Godly Majesty. I'll come back to that, and then Vegeta the Cruel, because this is more of a hand control deck and board control. This fits all of what you need. And then it is a green arrival, so you can combo with it from your hand or from the field. It's did its job if you counterplayed their card. And then Beerus is a recent addition in which if it's a battle card makes you drop it from hand, you get to play it from the drop. And then activate main, you pay 1 green, you send it to the warp, and then you get to KO a 3 or less on their field. Just overall, pretty solid card. It's a 15k attacker if you get it out. I don't have anything that interacts with in the deck, unfortunately, but oh well. Finally, this is the deck itself. If you skip to this, hey, more power to you. If you want to try this list out, definitely try this out. Like, I really do enjoy Android 18. I'm very happy that they gave us a leader who is BAETEEN and is very viable. Like, you can go with a lot of different routes. You can go with a lot of different routes with this leader, honestly. Like, if we have more clone token support in the future, it only gets better. I think the archetype right now for clone support, it's pretty big even within this own set. So overall, I'm very happy. This is the whole deck. The pros includes that it's BAETEEN. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, come on, look at that forehead, baby. She has a lot of tools we'll work with as far as removal, and as well as we can do with attackers, and as well as control, with hand control and just regular board control. You have free combo arrival, and it's very responsive. Like, you can respond to a lot of different things in this deck. I think it still loses to red. It can be kind of too responsive. Sometimes you're just sitting there with a lot of cards in your hand, and you're like, okay, I don't really want to play anything because, like, I'd rather play it on your turn so I can attack with it, you know? And then Ultra Instinct and Piccolo can kind of be played around. So, like, if they somehow remove, like, one of your Gokus or the Piccolo or something like that, I don't know. Like, you can, like, if you swing and they combo with, like, their 1 cost or something like that, and then you don't have anything to pop to get the max value from it, that's usually how they play around. And then of course Ultra Instinct can be just counter. I think overall the deck is very, very fun. I'm very satisfied with this. I'm going to change it so many times, and that is just the nature of building decks, honestly. If anything, I've talked enough. Please let me know in the comments below what you think. Subscribe if you're new, like, dislike, all that other stuff. Join the Discord. We have so many things. We have the waifu tournament going on, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.